Ralph Shortey seemed like a man who had it all: a rising Republican star in Oklahoma, a state senator with a promising future. But in 2017, his life unraveled in the worst way possible.
All right, come out.
I'm right here. I'm right here.
Hey, come out before you get me worried. Show me your hands.
Okay.
It all came crashing down when police found him in a motel room with a 17-year-old boy. Investigators soon uncovered disturbing details. Shortey had met the teen through Craigslist and offered him money for sex. The scandal forced him to resign in disgrace, and soon he was facing serious charges, including child sex trafficking. Facing the possibility of decades in prison, Shortey struck a deal. He pleaded guilty to 1 count of child sex trafficking in exchange for the other charges being dropped. But before that, there was the interrogation, the moment where his fate was sealed. You'd think a politician like Shortey would know better than to talk without a lawyer. Yet when detectives questioned him, he didn't call his high-powered attorneys. Instead, he started talking. And with every word, he dug himself deeper into a hole he'd never escape.
First off, let me start off with saying
I've got a little bit of a blood pressure issue.
Okay.
So just if I get a little lightheaded.
let me know.
Yeah.
Let us know.
You have a glass of water or anything?
No, I'm fine.
First off, free to go anytime you want. You can stop talking to us anytime you want. No big deal. Just say, hey, I'm done talking, and we're done talking, okay? And we'll let you out. Let us know if you have any lightness, head, anything like that. Any medical attention, we'll get you out of here and get it for you real quick. Alright, so, just so I know, what's your last name again?
Shortey.
Spell it for me.
S-H-O-R-T-E-Y.
What's your first name?
Ralph.
Middle?
Allen Lee. A-L-L-E-N-L-E-E.
What's your birthday?
February 16th, 82.
Yeah, home address?
2105 Southwest 64th.
Oh, see.
Mm-hmm.
What's your phone number?
405-219-9346.
9346?
Uh-huh.
Alright. Well, like I said, we're on the phone. I guess, had some officers contact you at Super 8 on March the 9th, I think it was, real early in the morning.
Yeah, Wednesday night, I think.
And so that's what we're here to talk about. Why don't you tell me what transpired there?
Well, we were inside talking, and we heard a bang on the door. I honestly didn't know who it was. Couldn't see through the keyhole or the peephole. And so, the young man I was with, I know has, I've known him for. We've been talking. He's come to the coffee shop that I operate a couple times. I've even had him over to my house, play video games before. Had no idea. Told me when I first met him that he was 20. And so when they first got there, I didn't know what the issue was. Didn't know if it was, somebody trying to get in or what.
Mm-hmm.
So, I asked them. They said it was a wellness check or something like that, and I said, hey, I'm fine. And they were persistent, and then I could finally see a badge on one of them. And then they said that there was a minor inside the room. Obviously, I had no idea when I first met this young man. He told me he was 20 years old. Like I said, we've been talking on the phone for a while. He, in fact, for a few months, even told me that he went to California to try to get in the music industry or something. So that was when I opened the door, because, it just didn't make any sense to me why, there'd be
Police there.
Actually, what I asked him was, I said, are you minor? And he said, no, let me go talk to them. I said, okay. And he went out there, and that's, I don't know what they talked about, but I asked him to check his ID. So again, I'd never even thought to ask him for his ID. There was no reason to. So anyway, I guess after that, one of the men, Sergeant something, I can't remember his last name, he's bald. He lectured me quite a deal. At that point, I was, again, blood pressure. I had to sit down, couldn't even really, I don't even honestly remember what I said to him. little bit, I think, and I just needed to not have a stroke. So I was caught off guard by that. I think they asked me at some.
The detectives read Shorty his Miranda rights and told him he was free to leave if he wanted. This is a common tactic used to make suspects feel more comfortable and willing to talk. What's surprising is that, given his background, Shorty should have known better. He should have realized this was a strategy and asked for a lawyer. But instead, he kept talking.
Stay for the night. And I think he had a bag with him. I don't know if they searched that.
Okay.
I did not.
So did you stay there all night after the cops left? Or?
No, I left a little while later.
About what time?
I have no idea.
Okay.
But
you didn't stay until in the morning?
I wanted to make sure that I was okay to leave.
Okay.
And that was off.
So you say how long you known the guy?
It's been definitely over a year.
Okay. What do you know him by? What's his name? You know his last name?
No, honestly, I don't remember. He's been over to my coffee shop a couple times. I know that he had been arrested for drug dealing in the past. I know that he had dropped out of high school. He was trying to get a GED. I was trying to help him through that. In fact, when we first met, I was trying to help him study and things like that for the GED. And then when I lost contact with him for 4 or 5 months, when he went to California or wherever, I just assumed that he had, I didn't know that's where he went.
Well, how did y'all meet?
At the coffee shop. I'm pretty sure of that.
What coffee shop are you talking about?
That's I own a coffee shop. It's called Holy Grounds Coffee.
Okay.
And 8613 Southwestern.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure that's how we met. I honestly don't remember. It's the only place I probably would have met the guy. So anyway, he's been over a couple times there. When he came back, he was, in fact, he told me he wanted to go be an anesthesiologist or something. And so you can't go without a high school diploma. You can't do anything without a high school diploma. And so, I know that the day after the incident happened, he was going to test for the GED. Strongly encouraged him to do that. The night that he called me, he said, "You just need to get out of his house." I'm assuming I thought he had told me that he lived with some friends, and he had told me in the past that it was hard for him to get clean because he was always with his friends that living with him. And so when he called and said he needed to get out of there, that he had to test the next day, then the choice was to bring him over to my house, which I don't think my wife would have appreciated that very much. She probably would have been okay with it, but I just figured it'd be easier just to get him a place. And then we decided to talk. So.
Okay. So, how do you do you text him, or how do y'all communicate?
Usually phone calls.
Phone calls?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's interesting because on his tablet he has a conversation that he says he had with you using an app called Kick. Do you know what that is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, there's a pretty lengthy conversation on his tablet that he says is with the guy that is you, that he that is online, or the Kick ID is Jamie Tilley, and you told officers that night that that's what your online.
He calls me Jamie,
Uh-huh.
and I'm not sure why.
Okay. And anyways, so we've got a conversation between him and this Jamie Tilley about, he says, "I need money for spring break." Jamie Tilley says, "I don't really have any legitimate things I need help with right now. Would you be interested in sexual stuff?" He says, "Yes." This goes on about how I come get you, blah, blah, blah. We go on. He says, he starts calling this guy Daddy. He says, "Hurry up, Daddy. I'm super horny."
From the beginning, detectives questioned Shortey about what happened. They asked him about his meeting with the boy and where it took place. Shortey told them they met at a coffee shop, trying to make it seem like he was just helping the boy, not doing anything wrong. But it was clear he wasn't sure if the detectives believed his story. Then things took a strange turn. Police in Moore, Oklahoma had already caught Shortey and the 17-year-old boy in a motel room. Officers said they could smell marijuana when they arrived. According to an affidavit, the two were smoking weed and admitted they had brought the drugs with them. More police later released video of Shortey's arrest, showing him wearing a t-shirt with a cartoon sandwich and a Bible verse, Ephesians 5:22, which tells wives to submit to their husbands. Investigators also found text messages between Shortey and the teen. In them, Shortey called the boy baby boy and offered him money for sexual favors. Shortey eventually surrendered and was released after posting a $100,000 bond. The case drew the attention of the FBI and U.S. Secret Service, who searched Shortey's home as part of their investigation. In Oklahoma, the legal age of consent is 16, but it's illegal for anyone under 18 to be involved in prostitution, which became a key part of the case against Shortey.
Hey, keep me updated because I want you bad, Daddy. The guy named Jamie Tilley says I'm gonna fuck you like a good little boy if you keep calling me Daddy. This goes on and on and on and on. Well, then it gets to the end. It says, "Okay, I'll be down the street, a couple houses in about 10 minutes or so." He says, "Okay, let me know so I have an idea." Then that person says, I-35 about to exit at 4th Street. And then it says, "I'm here." Well, we've got a witness, pardon me, we've got a witness that sees him get in a white Grand Cherokee, and they follow that white Grand Cherokee to the hotel, first to 4th and Eastern at the gas station, and then to the Circle K. Yeah,
This is the gas station.
yeah, at the gas station, and then to the Super 8 where the guy in the white Jeep Cherokee and him go in, check into a room, and then go back out and go into room 120. All right, and they sit there until the police show up, where she then calls his dad, and he intern calls the police, and the police show up there to 120, knock on the door, and then you come out. So, again I ask, you told officers that you had an online identity, Jamie. This guy, Hagen, saying that he was talking to you. We got a witness picking him up at the same time that this message was sent saying, "I'm here." So I kind of got to say that Jamie Tilley's you.
It's not me.
It's not you. Okay.
We communicated by phone. There was no sexual intention that night.
Okay. You got anything more?
So how did you meet?
I want to say it was at our coffee shop.
Okay. So, like, he just walks in, you guys strike up a conversation, become friends,
Yeah, it's happened many times.
invite over to your house. Has your wife met him?
I think so.
Okay. Now, you said he's come to your house several times to play video games.
I think just once.
Come to your house once to play video games, and then you guys met at the coffee shop a couple of times.
Mhm.
Okay. What if I said that he told you you guys met through a Craigslist ad the very first time, when he posted in Casual Encounters?
No.
Okay.
Well,
The detectives told Shortey that what he did matched what was written in the report. They said there was strong evidence against him. At this point, Shortey didn't have many ways to defend himself. Then they showed him the messages he had exchanged with the teen, which clearly made him look guilty.
I'll be your slave. That sounds nice. I mean, we go on and on and on. And
How old is your youngest child?
5 months.
Okay. So he's telling me that when he first met you through Craigslist, that he had posted an ad in Casual Encounters, and that he had a lot of responses for it, but that you said that you wanted him to mess around with your wife while you watched. He said that he showed up to do that, or you guys got together and started talking about that. He found out your wife was pregnant, and then said that it never happened because she was pregnant. So here's the deal, Ralph. You and I both know what the truth is, and the truth is not what you're telling us. We're not saying you're a bad guy. We're not saying you set out thinking that this is some 15-year-old kid you're going to go bang. We're not saying that. We're saying, hell, maybe you didn't know how old he was. I don't know. I think you probably did based on what he's telling me, but things are what they are. Tell us the truth. Get it out there. Let's get this over with, get this behind us so we can all move on.
I'm telling you that.
No, you're not. You're telling us part of what happened, but you're not telling us what's going on.
You told the officers there that you had an online identity of Jamie.
He's talking about, you talk about in these texts when this Kick account, about your kids and your kid being sick and your coffee shop and that you got customers left and that you close at 8. I mean, it's clearly you. It's clearly
And
you.
we've got a witness that put you there. When you say,
I absolutely picked him up.
when you say I'm here, the witness is waiting down the street because she thought it was jacked up. She thought it was jacked up that he wouldn't tell her where he was going or anything like that. So she sits down the street and waits. And then she sees him go into the Super 8 hotel with you, and then she gets scared and wondering what the heck's going on, so she calls the police, or calls his dad, and then who in turn calls us. So here's the deal. We're trying to give you an opportunity, all right, to help yourself out here, all right? We have we have his device, these are just photos of it. We actually have downloaded the entire device now. So we have everything that y'all said that night, everything. The thing about it is that tablet, once you sent the message saying I'm here, that tablet was never on the internet again. So the kid conversation couldn't delete. So we have the entire conversation, but yeah, you can look at it. We have the entire conversation because it never hit the network again. This is a bad deal. This is prostitution with a minor, prostitution within 1,000 foot of a church, which are both felonies, and then transporting for the purpose of prostitution, which is a misdemeanor.
I'm telling you, that's not me.
It clearly is you. Ralph, that's a lie. You're lying to us right now. That's clearly you. No one else. With daughter sick, coffee shop, I'm here and you're there. That's clearly you.
I don't know who else he could have been talking to.
Nobody. I agree with you. Nobody.
I
has a coffee
agree.
shop and has a sick kid, and all this stuff.
And
it's you. And here's the deal. He says it's you that he's talking to.
You show up with condoms. He shows up with lotion. I mean,
that's not true at all.
Yeah, there was condoms in your bag. The cop saw them.
That's just absolutely not true. I did not show up there for any sexual thing.
Well, then there's also weed that was in a green plastic container, marijuana that was in a green plastic container with labels from Colorado that was in the room.
Did you ever touch that bottle?
No.
So there's no way your fingerprints will be on it?
No.
Okay.
Because we have the bottle.
I don't know what to tell you.
He says, matter of fact, he says when the police knocked on the door that y'all were both smoking marijuana.
He said that he brought a gram when you brought a gram, and you guys rolled a huge blunt, and that you guys were planning on messing around, it just hadn't got there yet. And that he was going to do you a favor by whatever it was you guys were going to do, and that you were going to do him a favor by kicking him some money for spring break. Ralph, like I said, we don't think you're a bad guy. We think you made a bad decision. There's a big difference.
The detectives were straightforward. They didn't pretend to be friendly or act aggressive. They simply used the solid evidence they had. Even though Shorty had the right to stay silent and ask for a lawyer, he chose to keep talking.
Lincoln County District Attorney's Office, okay? I'm going to suggest that they file charges for solicitation of a minor, prostitution within 1,000 feet of a church, and transporting for the purposes of prostitution, okay? And then they're going to decide whether or not they're going to file charges or not. Obviously, I've given you the opportunity. I've given you an opportunity to help yourself out, to tell us what happened. Everything that I'm telling you, I can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt. So, I know that's why we're sitting here so strongly telling you you're lying, because we can prove the Jamie Tilley ID. We can prove that identity is you. I mean, amazing things that we can do with electronics and stuff like that. That we can recover and stuff like that with warrants and everything. So I'm telling you right now, but beyond a shadow of a doubt, that's you. And if you want to move forward from this with keep saying that's not you, then that's fine. But I don't want to be here not giving you an opportunity to set it straight and tell the truth.
It doesn't sound like anything I say is going to help.
Okay. I mean, the truth helps.
And just so you know that you guys also exchanged dick pics at one point. And when hopefully you didn't take a picture of your dick with your phone, because that's going to tag it whenever you send it to somebody.
No, I don't do that.
Okay.
I wouldn't. I don't understand why he would do this. I really don't. Is it really his name?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he knows you because, like you're saying, coffee shop, all that. Said you guys smoked weed on the second floor of the coffee shop in the past.
I just don't understand why he would do that.
He has nothing to gain from this.
Before charges were officially filed, the Oklahoma Senate took away Shorty's special privileges, like office perks. However, he still kept his job, salary, and voting rights. Still, many people wanted him to resign. During the questioning, Shorty and the detective went back and forth about the sexual messages, but they couldn't agree on what the messages really meant.
So other than kicks, how did you communicate with him? Did you email him?
I don't think I've ever had his email address.
Okay.
But mostly it was in person, I'll be honest.
Okay.
Anytime that we got together, it was, like I said, he came to the house once. We've only, met in person maybe 2 or 3 times.
Prior to the evening that we're talking about, how much sexual stuff had you guys done together?
Nothing.
So that was going to be the first time?
We weren't doing anything.
Not when we got there you weren't, but that was the plan for that evening.
No.
Clearly it was.
Sir, I'm telling you it wasn't.
I don't have any legitimate work for you. Are you interested in sexual stuff?
Would you be interested in any sexual stuff? He says yes. Then it gets worse on down through here, as far as talking about it. It says, at one point, I don't know, I may have said this earlier, I'm gonna fuck you like a good little boy if you keep calling me daddy. He goes, yes, daddy, please.
Did you ever have sex with him?
No, never.
Did you ever give him a hand job?
No.
Did he ever give you a hand job?
I've never even seen him naked or even asked.
So, this was going to be the first time that any of that had ever happened.
No, sir.
Well, you can't help with this stuff. You can definitely help with my cock, though. That's another statement. I'm just going through reading what you wrote, because I can prove that you wrote it. That's you. So I'm just letting you know, so you know what's coming down the pipe.
So how did you? If that's not you, how did you contact him last night or that night?
I think he called me.
He doesn't have a phone.
Sir, he called me. That's all I can say. I don't know.
How did he know that you were outside?
he called me, and I told him I was on my way. I told him I'd be there in a certain amount of time, and I got there.
Did you use this phone that you've lost?
That was the only phone I had.
Okay.
265. I can't remember the last four.
Of the phone that you lost?
Oh no, my phone was the number I gave you earlier. That's my cell phone.
Mm-hmm. And that's the one that's lost?
Well, I use Hangouts for Google numbers. I've always used them for all of my businesses, and so it would have been 265. I can't remember the last four.
Explain that to me. What does that mean? Like when you call him or he calls you on this 265 number,
Yeah.
and that goes to your cell phone via Google Hangouts?
Yeah, it was like, it's a forwarded number.
A Google Voice number?
No, it goes directly to my number.
After a pause in the conversation, a detective asked Shortey if he had emailed the teen. Then the detective began reading the sexually explicit messages between Shortey and the boy out loud.
So basically all that can happen is, at this point is that we get more evidence about what's going on. Because there's nowhere to go from here.
I'm just
But more to add to it.
I can find. I know you guys don't believe me, and I'm not going to try to convince you otherwise unless I have something to show you, and I just don't know.
I find it hard to believe that you magically lost your phone on the way over here as well.
It's not the first time, sir.
Well, and just look at it. Okay, take all this crap in this conversation that we've had out of it. All right. So just put yourself in my shoes. Okay. So you got a guy who gets caught in a room with a minor, or in a hotel room with a minor, and he comes in and talks to us, knowing that he's had a conversation with this minor on an electronic device. All right. Probably his phone, because of the way he was at the store, he was at the guy's store, he was in his car, so more than likely it was on his phone. So you're coming in blind, not knowing
Also extremely nervous.
Well, I got you. I know, but put yourself in my shoes. You're coming in this blind, only knowing that we're going to want to talk to you about, the hotel room, and all of a sudden you come in and you don't have a phone, and I know you live with your phone. You have to. So that's just strange to us,
Is your phone on you right now?
No, it's not.
Is it in your car?
No.
Can I look in your car?
Sure.
Okay.
When did you drive up here today?
Sorry?
When did you drive up here today?
When?
What vehicle did you drive up here?
My car.
What is your
Jeep.
Oh, the white Jeep Cherokee? What year is it?
I don't know, 99, 01, something like that.
Have you talked to him since that night?
No. I honestly would have loved to have talked to his parents. I had no idea that he was still with his parents. I wouldn't have been with a minor.
Well, you knew that he was kicked out of high school.
Yeah, I knew that. Well, he told me he dropped out of high school.
Okay, you knew that he dropped out of high school, and that he was trying to get his GED.
Right.
How old did you think he was?
20.
Well,
When we met, he told me he was 20.
Okay.
And he's told me Guys, this is why this is just so, I don't understand why he would do this. Because that's all we've ever talked about, is just life and just trying to get him better, I guess. I had no idea he lived with his parents. Is he still in high school?
Shorty said he lost his phone on the way to the interview, but the story didn't sound believable, not even to a child. He claimed he had lost his phone before, but that didn't make his excuse seem any more honest.
You asked me about email conversations earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to find something for you guys. Is there anything there that shows what I'm saying on email? Because I honestly don't remember if I've ever emailed him.
Yeah, there's shit ton of emails on that thing, and I'm not sure. That's what I was asking, if you remember anything.
I gave the officer my email address the other night. I guess I'll search and see if there's any. I'm just trying to think of anything. You had mentioned something about spring break. Can you explain that to me?
You said he needed money for spring break.
Like, in what sense? Was he going somewhere?
I don't know. It didn't say.
Okay, so he's... No, spring break was last week, right?
This week. In some places is next week.
I think more is this week, though.
Yeah, I think so.
But it probably wouldn't matter to him if he's not in high school, I guess.
I don't know if he still has friends that were in high school.
Be right back.
There's really not any way around it. How many times has he been on the second floor of the coffee shop?
I don't think he ever has been.
So he wouldn't be able to describe what it looks like?
I don't know. I mean, it's not like private or anything. I mean, anybody can go up there. In fact, it's
Shorty said he gave the teen money because the boy asked for help with spring break in an email. But no one in the room seemed to believe that explanation, and there wasn't much left to say. It was obvious he had been caught.
You asked me earlier if there had been any sexual contact in the past. Does he allege that?
He said you guys kissed.
When?
Before May of last year.
I mean, that's nothing, but still, that's never happened either.
Just like Jamie Tilley's not you. Just like it's somebody else with kids and daughters in the coffee shop. Somebody else who's there. Man, you made a bad decision. That doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means you made a bad decision. It's not the end of the world.
And if I can't prove otherwise, that it is the end of the world. And I can't think of any other proof that I can show you.
There's nothing, because there's no, I mean...
There absolutely would be.
What we have is the truth.
If I had phone calls, or if I had...
But you don't, because they don't exist. What we have is the truth. You know it. You know
I
that's
never
why
would have thought to have to record a phone call or anything with a guy. I mean,
It was recorded. That's what we've got pictures of.
I'm
The
talking
conversation was recorded. I mean, that is so clearly you. You and I both know that's you. Anyone we show that to is going to know that's you.
Well, that's the problem.
It's not a problem. It's the truth. What I'm saying is the problem is that for some reason you think that if you stick your head in the sand and ignore it, it's going to go away. It's not. Your best bet is to tell us the truth, tell us what happened, and then move on from this. Make this a bump in the road, not the road. I mean, it's that simple, really. This is not a defining moment. This is just a moment. No, this is you've had other things happen in your life that were awful at the time, and then now that you look back at them, they're still awful, but they didn't change who you were. It's a bump. That's all it is. It doesn't change the fact that you're a good person, that you care about your family. None of that changes. But the reason you're having trouble thinking of something to say is because you know there's nothing you can say.
I'm having trouble thinking of something to say. I'm trying to...
Well, you're trying to decide whether or not you should tell us what happened.
No, I've told you everything.
Okay. So are we done?
I can't think of anything else.
And no phone on you, no phone in your car?
No.
Do you mind if I pat you down real quick?
Seeing that Shortey was feeling hopeless, a second detective tried to comfort him by saying things might not be as bad as they seemed. But Shortey was clearly upset, and soon after, the interrogation ended. In the end, Shortey was sentenced to 15 years in prison and ordered to pay a $125,000 fine. He is now serving his sentence in a federal prison in Texas.